This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. During the next hour, the insane Daryl Wayne and I are going to take a look at a couple of things that touch each and every one of us. During the second part of our show, we're going to be talking about the brain. And in talking about the brain, we're going to talk about how to improve the brain with a psychologist, and that'll happen in about 30 minutes from now. Right now we go to, I believe, St. Louis, Missouri, the Show Me State. And we're going to talk with Martin Sneider, I get that right, who's written a book called Amy Unbound. It's a novel. And while we don't normally talk about novels, I think there's a lot of reality in this novel that relates to current events in the United States, if not the world. Martin, welcome to Late Night Health.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Would you say that there are events within the book that people can relate to in real life?
Well, yes, I think the center of the book revolves around a marriage and friction in a marriage. And unless I'm mistaken, many people can relate to that. But in a way, it happens to a family that's very wealthy. And therefore, there are options available to both husband and wife that would not be options available to the average person or the average couple. So it makes...
Because of the money.
Yeah, the money helps them smooth out some of the things that might otherwise disrail the movie. And I mean the marriage, but I think it's been my experience that people like reading about what wealthy people do, even if they themselves are not wealthy. The series.
Well, then your experience. I mean, you have a couple of shekels put aside. I mean,
yeah, I do. In fact, I'm going to get a new computer, so I'm a little better off next time. But yes, I have. But more importantly, the Feldman family has shekels put aside. And, if you go to the series of Succession or the Gucci family drama, money, business, all those things resonate with an audience who see the kind of minor or the jealousies, the rivalries, the ambitions, thwarted or not, that take place in a family business, and particularly when there's money, a lot of money involved.
Your background is not as an author, but as a in the fashion industry. You spent more than 3 decades. By the way, I'm a 40 short. If you have anything laying around, was that in women's clothing primarily?
Both women's and men's. And,
then I wasn't wrong in giving you my size.
Right. No, 40 short, the tough size to find, and I sympathize with you.
Yes, it is.
I'm a 38 regular, so there aren't many of me left. So yeah, no, I've been involved in the business, but actually my family's business has always been retail, meaning even my immigrant grandparents owned a grocery store, and where I was allowed to punch the cash register under the close supervision of my Zadie, my grandfather. And my father was in retailing, my brother was at Macy's. And so my mother's side also had retailers. And so it was fated for me to be a retailer and to take part in that industry.
In looking in reading the book, and it's one of these books that I can't put down. Okay, It's well written. I'm not into it all that much, but there's a big, heavy Jewish influence in the book. You just mentioned Zaidi, your grandfather. That's Yiddish for grandpa. Um, I just learned a Hebrew word. Saba is Hebrew for grandfather, I think. And uh, in today's world, anti-Semitism is just reaching all times high. When you were growing up in retail, did your grandparents and your parents talk about anti-Semitism?
Uh, yes, they did. They were very conscious of their being Jewish, and living in a Christian country, as they would call it back then. The they Some of my relatives tried to assimilate as quickly as they could and adopted American customs in the 30s. This would be the 20s and 30s. Others were proud of their Judaism and really, in some cases, too old to really change. And but anti-Semitism was always, it was ever present. We knew about it. I honestly didn't experience a lot of it, particularly once I was in the retail business.
I was interested in that because I was, they called it the schmata industry,
Yes, they do.
right? Where schmata means rags. And um, the industry at one point was a bastion of Jewish life.
Yes, and I blame it on the czar,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
czar wouldn't let us own land. So a lot of us ended up being like uh, having to be peddlers and eventually open little stores. And so I would say in the early part of the or late part of the 19th and the early part of the 20th century, when Jews emigrated to the United States, that was a very common uh, kind of career for those people that came because they had been able to own land, and as I often joke, they were unable to earn their living from the land, and so that was left to the non-Jews in many of the countries of Europe where they came from.
Right.
And uh,
And it's interesting because in Europe, I just came back from Turkey, and the history of Jews in these countries and in Turkey were that Jews became prosperous and helped the country, and yet they turned against Jews. I cannot, for the life of me, Martin, understand the why us.
you're talking in the general terms of why do people turn against Jews of wealth and Jews in general, right?
Jews in general, poor Jews, old Jews, young Jews, Jews.
Okay, well, I know what I think, and that is we as a people have been so fortunate, at least in the United States. I don't know about Turkey, but in the United States, that even though we're 2% or less of the population as a whole, many Jews are very prominent and successful, and
I
are
think it goes, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up on this. I agree with you to a certain extent. And at the same time, Martin, I think that um, even without money, Jews have been kind of the focal point of other people. And I don't get it. This is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Join us at latenighthealth.com, latenighthealth.com. We'll have a link to Martin's website, and we'll tell you how you can find his book, Amy Unbound. The day that we're recording this is the day it's being published. Congratulations to Martin. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Recently, I met Jacqueline from Bright here in Los Angeles. She gave me a hearing exam and then showed me how to hear again with the new Signia Pure Series hearing aids, and she can give you your life back too. I hear birds chirping, birds cooing, and even my wife. They easily connect to my smartphone. The Signia hearing aids are amazing, and with the charge and go, I don't have to fiddle with batteries and hear all day long. Not hearing is frustrating for you and your family. I know you don't have a problem, but trust me, call Bright Here now for a free hearing exam, a $125 value, yours free, just for making an appointment now. There are offices throughout the Los Angeles area. Call Bright Here now at 323-424-7100. That's 323-424-7100 for a free hearing exam. There's no obligation. Call now, 323-424-7100, or visit them on the web at brighthere.com.
If you're listening to Late Night Health right now, you're part of the growing target of baby boomers we're serving. Hi, I'm Daryl Wayne, producer of Late Night Health, inviting you to join the Late Night Health family. If you have any business targeting the growing boomer market, Late Night Health is the ideal advertising vehicle for you. From vitamins to insurance, alternative health to Western-style medicine, Late Night Health caters to the growing population of those over 40 years old. This vibrant demographic has expendable income to fight aging, purchase travel, take care of aging parents, or just have fun. Find out about the advertising opportunities with Late Night Health. Call us at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308, or email us at info@latenighthealth.com. That's info@latenighthealth.com. Join Late Night Health as we empower people to take charge of their own health care. Call now at 805-391-0308. That's 805-391-0308.
Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Words are a critical aspect of success. How you get your point across is a crucial part of what makes anything sell. So do it right and hire a writer. Whether it's articles, blog posts, technical writings, website content, product descriptions, or ghostwriting anything from a novel to a nonfiction book about your navel, contact Servet Hassan. If you want it to sell, write it right. Email Servet at servet@servethassan.com.
It's time to tackle a tough topic, one that affects us all. We're talking about sexism in the workplace. The award-winning Identifying the Elephant in the Room series is back and ready to tackle some complicated communications issues again. This spring, we're focusing on critical communication strategies in the face of sexism. Join us as we hear from professionals in the natural products industry who have valuable career lessons to share and real-world experience to discuss from all sides of the elephant. It's time to have an honest and open conversation about the impact of sexism in the workplace and how we can make it better for everyone. Identifying the Elephant in the Room series starts March 16th. Register today at inicibox.vfairs.com. That's INICIBOX.VFAIRS.com and join the conversation to be part of the solution. Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. We're talking about a new book. It's part of a 5-part series, the Feldman Family Saga. Amy Unbound is the topic of the book today. Our guest is Martin Sneider. And Martin, the book it's a Jewish book, isn't it?
Well, I think the first book in the series, Shelf Life, is really very Jewish because it begins in the 30s with one of the main characters' dad in a grocery store and there's it's got a lot of Jewish themes in it, and although Amy Unbound also does, which is the second book in the series, which you're reading now, or which is released today, and yeah, they're both have a heavy Jewish content.
Do you think that's universal? That everybody can relate to that?
No, in fact, in my own mind, as a marketer who was a marketer for many decades, I was thinking of a target market, and in many cases, I think certainly well-read people, people who are educated, and Jews fit that description to a large extent, would be interested in reading about this. And I would think some business people would be interested because it goes into how retailers think and how they operate, how the fashion industry works, how luxury goods influence the way we buy. So there's business, there is an element of Judaism in both books and all 5 books. And so yes, I was thinking about that market, the market who might be interested in reading the book, and I purposely made it a little weighted toward Judaism.
A little Yiddishkeit.
Yeah, yes.
To me, a non-Jew reading the book can learn about Judaism through this.
Yes, a certain kind of Judaism.
Correct.
And not the Orthodox kind, but the kind of assimilated Jewish family that's wealthy and is still Jewish and has bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah for their kids, and belongs.
Well, the heroine is part of the National Jewish Women's Council.
The fictional head
Right.
of the NCJW, which is the National Council of Jewish Women, and also Planned Parenthood in St. Louis.
Which both help Jews and non-Jews.
Correct, and which are what many modern day Jewish women belong to and believe fervently in.
And again, I go back to, I don't understand why. My father was in the schmata business. He owned a couple of dress stores at one point in the early 50s. And I remember going into his store, being afraid of the mannequin at the door. But the good thing was he would bring home the boxes the dresses came from, right? And I get to play in them. That was great. I must have been 5 years old, or less. And I still remember playing in those big boxes. And I mean, it was like my fort. It was terrific. The retail industry, over the 30 plus years, and you taught retail as well at university level, has it changed that much?
Oh, the retail industry's a lot different from the 50s when your dad had his store, the 2 stores.
Yeah.
The
By the way, he had a store in Taft, California. Daryl, have you been to Taft? At the time, it was a small, very small town, and why he decided to do that. Even at my age of 5, I knew it was wrong. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, often there are books been written about the Jewish small store merchant, small town merchant, who was eventually wiped off the map by Walmart.
Right.
But basically, the Jews in town, it was sometimes even called the Jew store in the South. primarily, because a Jewish family was interested in buying and selling merchandise and going to New York to buy merchandise or going to a big city to buy the merchandise for the store. And so the local people, most of them not Jewish, would shop there for fashion or for whatever they were looking for. And this is how the early Jews in the 20th century started to prosper. And many of the department stores had Jewish ownership. Many of the specialty stores did. The little local grocery stores, bodegas, and everything else were often run by Jews, and still in cities like New York by minorities. Running the bodegas is not uncommon. So this is a way to make a living, and but Jews were very conscious of their status, and they knew that because they did not go to their sanctuary on Sunday, they did not belong to the same civic organizations that some of the other people in town belonged to, that they were apart. They were different.
But at the same time, in Amy Unbound, isn't the heroine the same as any other strong woman? Forget the Jewish part.
Yes, she is very strong. Yes, she is. She's been a partner in a law firm, head of the NCJW, head of the Planned Parenthood, a civic leader, Woman of the Year, as a matter of fact, in one of the books. So she's an ambitious, smart woman, and it could be any religion. It just happens that she's Jewish.
Got it.
And has some Jewish sensibilities. And the fact
that Jewish sensibility, to me, is fairness to everybody.
Absolutely, and she's on a mission for social justice.
Right.
When she leaves her husband and goes to Chicago from St. Louis and begins to work for the Chicago Alliance for Social Justice as a lobbyist in Washington, she's trying to get school lunch money for Chicago school kids.
And she worked on the Obama
in neighboring Illinois, where she was from St. Louis. Yeah. She got interested in the Obama campaign because he was a senator from Illinois.
Well, I think you need one to get somebody on the Biden administration, not to be political, everybody, but every now and then I do. We're out of time. The name of the book is Amy Unbound. The publisher, again, is Jewish Leaders Books. It's available on Amazon and every place good books are sold?
Yes.
Wow.
Beginning today, which is a special day because it's the day of its release. And I urge your viewers, listeners to read the books, both books, Shelf Life and Amy Unbound.
And we should look for the other elements in the Feldman family saga. Will you come back with the other books?
Well, sure. If you invite me, I'll be back.
You're back.
Okay.
I've got to go to the next guest. Listen, Martin, thank you very much. The name of the book again, Amy Unbound. I'm Mark Alyn, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Don't go away. Late Night Health continues.